Every day, I receive requests from parents seeking help or information on their young son that passionately wants to join the under-17 national team of Nigeria or go to an academy or a club abroad to start a professional football career. They all dream of walking in the footsteps of Kanu, Okocha, Ikpeba, or Babayaro, who were taken to Europe many years ago as ordinary young boys with big dreams and returned to Nigeria as heroes, very rich and very famous. That story is not the same for all the boys that go on their own or are taken outside the shores of Nigeria by agents and scouts. The reality is that there are indeed more boys that do not succeed than those that do. So, for every one Kanu that succeeds, there are 100 that end up either disappointed or failures. If you are such a child, so passionate about becoming a professional football player abroad, probably even unwilling to continue his schooling, or who wants to follow one of the several agents promising heaven on earth, please sit up now. Wake up that son of yours. Tonight's session at the Parliament is for you. We have a very special guest, a young man who joined that train 3 years ago and is back to narrate his incredible experience. I am SEGUN ODEGBAMI. I am the Speaker of the Sports Parliament, that Thursday diet of the best sports conversation on television, coming to you live from our studios in Lagos and Abuja, of the largest television network in Africa. Over 60 million viewers every week. You just can't beat it. NTA. Well, we'll be going on a short break. But before we do that, let me just give you the following information. One, you can participate in this program by joining any of our social media platforms. You know them. Facebook, Sports Parliament. YouTube is youtube.com/NTA2 Lagos. And on the Twitter handle is @SportsParlia. From next week, we shall be introducing a short code where we'll be scrolling your messages, as well as a new very challenging quiz competition that I'm going to dare you. If you win, then a big prize awaits you. But for tonight, on the Parliament with me are, from my distant right, playing his, well, the position he played, partly when he was playing football, Shola Akinwale.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker. I'm glad to be in the lineup again today.
Well, and that's deliberate. And sitting next to him is a gentleman, one of the foremost, in fact, the foremost sports physician in Nigeria, Dr. Aki Amao.
Good evening, Mr. Speaker. Good to be here.
And to my distant left, ex-Olympian, ex-international, no, Olympians are never ex. Olympian, ex-international athlete, Enefiok Udo Obong.
Mr. Speaker, I'm glad to be back here.
And across the River Niger, on that hill, what is that hill in Abuja now? There's this big rock, it's Zuma Rock in Abuja, is our own, now veteran journalist, Yunusa Tanko Abdullahi. Hello, Yunusa.
I'm happy to retain my shirt this evening.
And, well, our special guest is sitting very next to me here. His name is Sheyi Bakari. Let's go on this short break. During that break, you get to see a little about who Sheyi is.
My name is Sheyi Bakari, and I am from Nigeria. Initially, I played as a striker for so many years. For the past 2 years, I've been playing on the wings. speed, my stamina, my strength, my endurance is one thing every coach or manager can always use to win a game. The first thing that makes me different, it's my good character on and off the football pitch.
Well, welcome back. Well, what do I say about Seyi Bakare to start with? He is a football player. As you can see there, that was his profile. Something he put on the internet and sent out to the world. But that was 3 years ago. But his story did not start 3 years ago. It started a long time before that. And tonight, for the first 20 minutes of this show, all parliamentarians, they haven't heard about him, they don't even know the story. They are going to listen to what Seyi has to say about his experiences in the past 3 years. As I said, it didn't start 3 years ago, it started long before then. So I will throw the first question at him, and then he will tell us his story. Then after that, parliamentarians can now ask him. But as we go along, should any one of you feel like throwing in a question or two, then you feel free to do so. I will prod him on. I've listened to his story so that he's guided along the course that we want to go tonight. So, Seyi, welcome to the Sports Parliament.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. It's nice to be here.
The man calls me Mr. Speaker. So, enjoy yourself. As I said, your story didn't start 3 years ago. It started from when you were a little boy. So go back as far back as you possibly can to tell us about your story.
As far back as I can remember was when I was in primary 4, when then Pepsi Football Academy came to my primary school, St. Benedict's in Abeokuta, and they came to train. I think Pepsi just started about that time, not too long. They came to train some of us, and the interest came up then. I love football, like every small kid will, but the interest of where I want to play, the position I want to play, came then when they gave me a card where on the card, it was Ronaldo, the Brazilian player, was on that card, and he said he's a striker, he wears jersey number 9, and he scores goals. And I said, I want to be a striker, I want to wear jersey number 9, I want to score goals. And so it started from there and till these minutes. That was how the whole journey of football started.
So just continue in a sequence, and then what happened?
I couldn't get the opportunity of training with Pepsi Football Academy, even though I knew about them, because my parents were too busy to take me there. But I made sure I stored the address they gave to us that day in my memory. And they said, we train at grammar school in Abeokuta, ODEGBAMI. So I kept looking for that address. I was too small to go out on my own. And so I waited. And so I got admission into secondary school, and I kept looking for them. My parents still didn't take me there, until one day I was fortunate enough to come across this boy whom they always abused then and say, you're a coach's son, you don't know anything, you don't know how to do anything. And I talked to him and said, what's the problem? They always abuse you, you said you're a coach's son. Which coach? What's coach? Coach of what? He said Pepsi Football Academy. And I screamed and said, this is what I've been looking for since I was in primary 4. That very day I followed him to his father's house. I used to save from a small age. I had some money with me. I paid part of the money for the Pepsi Football Academy form, and I joined Pepsi Football Academy then. That was the very beginning. Football started affecting my education. In my first class in GS1, I had a 3rd position, but the second term, I was 5th or 8th. Now, it was football that caused it actually. And it kept getting worse all through because the interest in football started increasing as I saw what I had been looking for. I played football for my secondary school from SS1 to SS3. We used to play in a union competition games then in Abeokuta, which comprises of schools within Ogun State. And then I moved on to the university, Taishola University of Education, where I also played for the university. And in my final year, I was the Student Union Government Sports Director, majorly to try to help my football career, thinking I would be able to, get into some offices and have one-on-one discussion. Like if I had met Mr. Speaker, for example, when I was in the university, it would have been a very good opportunity for me to say, I really want to play football. How can you teach me? How can you help me? That was why I went into being the sports director. And afterwards, I finished from my university. The reason I couldn't pursue outside the country is because my mom said, finish your undergraduate first. After you finish your undergraduate, I will look for how you can go out of the country, because I felt Nigeria was not encouraging, you to play from a young age. And even when you go out to play at a young age, they tell you you're too young to play, which is very discouraging. When abroad, even the young ones are the ones they are looking for.
But in between, you went to the under-17 when you were in the university.
Yes, I did.
And also, you had an agreement with your mom. Those two aspects, please.
The under-17, I had the opportunity to meet with the former Secretary General, I think, of the Nigerian Football Association then. And it was through his help I was asked to go to the under-17 camp in Abuja in 2010. But I don't think I used up to a week before early in the morning, 5 a.m. or so, we were sent out of the camp. And I didn't even know anyone. That was my first time in Abuja. But then the people who invited me were in the World Cup, having fun in South African World Cup. And so there was no back power backing me. And so the coaches just, in fact, I made a mistake the previous night after they said, you are going the next morning. I did not know they were calling the list of those who were going to eat first, who were the ones who were still in camp. I thought they were calling our list. And then I went there and I filled my name to eat that night. And then the coach looked at me and said, did I call your name now? I said, sir, I thought you were calling names, right? And so I just came to put down my names. He said, you're going tomorrow. These are names for those to eat first, not for those of you they are sending away. Well, that was for the under-17. And then, what's that question?
You and your mom?
My mom, yeah. My mom always wanted me to go for my education first. She saw that as a priority, as the first thing you should go for. And I always wanted football instead. And then I decided to do a bidding and go to the school, go for my education, because I don't want people to say, you don't know, you can't succeed in academics. That's why you're actually doing sports. I wanted to prove to them that a sports person has a lot of wisdom, knowledge, and intellect to do well in academics. So I decided to pursue academics.
And who was your inspiration then?
Sheyi Olofinjano. Sheyi Olofinjano was someone, I read his story. He schooled in Lautech. He played football for Nigeria. He did his master's in Hull City University. I think he even did a doctorate too in Hull City. So I felt if he could play football at that age, play for Nigeria, play professionally in the English Premiership, and still go to school, then I should be able to achieve the same thing. So I set sail to try to do the same thing.
And your father's influence?
My dad was, he only gave me, he said, school or football, which do you want? I can't sponsor both at the same time. And I said, football.
So he was ready to sponsor football?
Not sponsor full time. It was when I went to gain admission into the university, he just gave me the option. He said, I can't waste money on two things. I only have money for your school fees now, or you use that money to go and pursue football anywhere it takes you to. Which one do you want? And I said, football.
And then what happened?
It flopped.
How?
It flopped because the agent or the person I gave the money to did not do as he said. He didn't do as he had promised. And so I had to go back to school. Luckily, the window was still open where you could pay for admission, pay for clearance, or whatever it was we were paying then. And my mom stepped in and gave me the funds to go back to school.
Tell us about this agreement with your mom and how you finally went abroad.
The agreement with her was that I told her first it was frustrating to be in Nigeria actually. Everything was frustrating based on, what we young ones really want, or what we've seen in movies, or what we've heard about stories of life abroad. So I told her that I need that opportunity to go. I don't have the opportunity yet. And so she said, I can't just, look for money and make you go out abroad. I want you to finish your school. After your first degree, I want you to serve. You do your youth corps, your NYSC. And after that, we'll talk about you leaving. So I went to the university. I did very well in school. my grades were really good. After the university, I came back and said, Mom, this is my certificate. I am through with school. Can I travel? Let's see how I can travel. She said, no, I have to go for service for 1 year. Okay, I went for the service. Even during service, I served with the Ondo State Football Association. That's for you to see how much I was not interested in anything but football. And then I was training in Ondo State, in the stadium there. And then after service, I called her again and said, I'm through. Now I'm going to try to get into a Nigerian team. If I cannot, then we have to talk again. So I went for trials with Shooting Stars, Sunshine, Enugu Rangers, Warri Wolves. The last one was with Sunshine in December 2013, and they dropped me. I said I was too small. Immediately they saw me from the gates. You're not from any big team, you're a small boy, you cannot be up to 20-something years of age. What are you looking for here? And after 3-4 days, they dropped me. Of course, you know, some big bones were there who really hit me hard on the field. And they dropped me. So as they dropped me, I informed my mom again and said, they've dropped me again, this frustration is getting too much. And she sent me a text and said, come home, let's talk about you leaving the country. So I went to meet her, prepared everything. I was, of course, already, because of my education or my literacy, had Googled everything, where I want to go to, what country I want to travel to, and things I want to do. And when I went to meet her, I already knew how much I wanted to collect from her, which would not cost her too much, at the same time would do a lot for me. And I had done the calculations and just told her, this is the amount I need, please. With these, I'll find my bearing. Don't worry, just this will take me out of the country, and then I'll find my way myself.
So tell us what you did now.
What I did was I gained admission into Turkish Republic, or into Eastern Mediterranean University in the Turkish Republic of Northern Cyprus.
How did you apply? How did you know about it?
I just took my phone. I Googled everything, trying to look for the cheapest place to travel to based on the funds I was going to ask from my mom. And I found Eastern Mediterranean University giving 50% scholarship then to Nigerian or African students. I Googled everything, tried to see how much it costs to live there, accommodation, feeding. And I calculated everything. I said, okay, this money should be okay. It's not so much. My mom should be able to give me this money. I did the admission processes by myself. I refused to use an agent because I didn't have money to pay for any agent for anything.
Football agent, you mean?
No, for the education.
Okay.
You use agents too.
Okay.
So I did everything by myself, paid the tuition, bought my plane ticket by myself. I refused to even use agents to buy my plane ticket. I deposited in the bank to buy the plane ticket. I did the visa fee and everything, the processing by myself, which didn't cost me then more than 10,000 naira, just because I was trying to, minimize cut cost and not to cost too much for my mom. And I went to Cyprus as I planned for a master's degree in international relations, which was the best thing I thought I could do. Use education to leave the country. So I have a reason to be based abroad, not just to go on a short visa and then...
So, but your objective was really to go and play football?
It was really football, not even the masters. The masters was just the cover, to be legal, and then to find the football in any way I could find.
What kind of experience did you have there?
It's a sweet and sour. It's sweet because, I'm in a plane, I'm leaving Nigeria, and I look like, like a proud son going out to fulfill a dream, and we'll come back one day to, make my mom very happy. The experience is sweet and sour because the very first bad experience was that I was scammed by a Nigerian within the first 1 month of leaving the country, and he scammed me of my second semester master's school fees because he posed as a FIFA licensed agent from Turkey using a Turkish licensed FIFA agent's name. And I contacted Turkish Football Federation to know if this person is real. They said yes, he is real, of which he used a fake ID. But he asked me for ITC, International Transfer Certificate or so. But because I was not, they don't tell these sports people a lot of things which we ought to know. If maybe it could be in the curriculum, maybe to really help us, because we don't know all these things. So a lot of people cheat us. And I paid him. In fact, he used to call my mom in Nigeria then, and he used to call me. And he was encouraging me and saying everything was set for me to come and sign a contract. So the first bad experience was I was scammed by a Nigerian with my second semester master's school fees, which I got from my mom who gave me that money. And the other good things was that I really did sojourn. I learned a lot of things, and I am more exposed than than I was.
Where were you? Were you in Cyprus when he was come or back from Nigeria?
No, I was in Cyprus. He was in Turkey. Okay. I was to go to Turkey to sign a contract, like okay. As a claim.
With your ICT?
Yeah, with my...
So your football experiences now?
My football
When you first got there, what clubs did you go to? And
when I first got there, I immediately looked for a club in the city where my university is, because before I left Nigeria, I had Googled it and I had saved the map and directions of a club in the city where the university is located. That was how desperate I was. That was before I even left Nigeria. So immediately I got there, I used the Google map to trace, and I walked for over 50 minutes, maybe an hour, until I was able to locate the club. And unfortunately, I couldn't train with them. They weren't around that day, but I was training with the second team there. The experiences were, it wasn't as I had expected, actually. I was thinking, you know, we watch foreign soccer, we'll see it on TV. We should see big stadiums and see a lot of people and see a lot of competition, but it was not so in Cyprus. So I knew, okay, this was not what I was looking for. Now I have to begin to think of how to go to other countries.
So go on, let's go on.
It didn't stop there. From Cyprus, and you know, I went for masters, yes, but it wasn't so serious. So the education, I didn't take it serious in my first semester. So I started looking for how to pursue the football career. I left from Cyprus to Turkey. In Turkey, where I was trying to do my travel insurance to Europe, the agents doing that saw me and knew I was a footballer, and they liked me. I said, we can make 200,000 euros on your head, you know, because for every black player signed in Turkey, that's the minimum fee. And so they said, if you can stay in Turkey till a certain time, we assure you a trial with the Turkish Super League team, Ankara Gençler League. I decided to wait back, and I got the opportunity for the trials. But I wasn't signed. The director came, told me, you're a black player, we need so many paperwork to keep you here, we can't keep you except you go to the 4th league, which is filled with a lot of black players, and then you can be signed there. It's called the Bali League. And just 2 days after I was removed from the camp, my visa was ready for Austria. I moved to Austria.
So what happened to your education, your schooling in Cyprus?
It was during the summer break then. But while I was in Turkey, I got the results of my first semester, and it was really bad. But I was not bothered, because to me, I was living in Turkey for over 1 month when I was almost supposed to be in Cyprus. So I was feeling good about myself, that I'm in the process of achieving a dream. Although when they dropped me in the Ankara Gençler League, I cried a lot for the first time, because it was an invited trial. Only 6 players were remaining to fill the list of 25 players for this season. And the 6 spaces was empty. So I felt, I'm the only black player here. I should have an edge over a lot of them. At least, if not for anything, they should just keep me because I am black.
So the problem you've been having, from what I'm hearing now, the issues were just normal challenges in any kind of workplace that's not able to go. Were you actually like, did you go through any kind of problems in terms of being duped, being scammed, being maltreated, being any kind of these issues that people normally have? Did you have, at all times, did you have a valid visa? Did you have an expired visa? Did you have, those are the things.
I never stayed anywhere illegal. I was always legal everywhere I traveled to. Even when my visa was going to expire in Austria, I made sure I left Austria a day before, so the very day it would expire. While I was in the US, I left the US without staying back. Even though I could stay for 6 months, I left even before 6 months. So everywhere I stayed, I was legal.
So what was the problem? What were your major issues now? Why do you think you didn't succeed?
Well, I wouldn't say I did not succeed. I would only say my expectations were not fulfilled.
Okay.
As I had thought. I had thought it was why I really didn't go far from my own experience is that I went on this sojourn alone. I had no agent, I had no guardian, I had nobody. I believed just leave the shores of Nigeria, get abroad. Things will work out because you're black, you're going to be exceptional, things will favor you.
You are good.
And you know you're good. But unfortunately, this thing called racial discrimination exists truly. Why is it that you can't be in a club except you have a certain amount? There's a certain minimum which they can pay you before you can be there. Or why is it that in some countries you have maybe only 2 players can play as foreign players? So there were a lot of challenges, and I didn't have that profile which maybe an agent would have helped me to build from Nigeria.
If you had played for the under-17s of Nigeria,
I would have gotten a contract, definitely, if I had that profile. I'm sure.
Well, if you have been watching this program, it is the Sports Parliament coming to you live from our studios in Lagos and Abuja. We'll go on a short break, and when we come back, parliamentarians will still have a few minutes to ask a few questions, and then we hear the balance of Sheyi's story.
Okay, sir. You may now go in for your interview.
Thank you.
My shoe. And to think I just bought this very expensive foreign shoe 2 months ago.
So sorry about your shoes. This is why I advise my friends to always patronize made in Nigeria products. See this shoe. It's made in Nigeria, and I've had it for 2 years, and it's still as good as the day I bought it.
Made in Nigeria products are good quality, and stringent government regulations and certification now mean that goods made in Nigeria meet international standards. Make the patriotic choice today. Buy right. Buy Made in Nigeria.
This is a public service announcement brought to you by NTA.
Welcome back. Well, this is the Sports Parliament, once again coming to you from our studios in Lagos and Abuja, NTA. Our special guest tonight is Sheyi Bakari. He's been telling us his story from when he was young to when he got to Cyprus and then went to Austria. Let's hear the rest of the story in the next 5 minutes before other parliamentarians will now have opportunity to ask a few questions and pass their own comments. So Sheyi, now tell us the football side of it, the travels, the challenges you faced. How did you fund your trips? How did you fund your stay and all of that?
One challenge I always faced, of course, was finance, because of the currency, the fact that the naira is really low compared to the dollar, to the euro, which is used abroad. My funding was not just from my mom after I got there. I was lucky enough to come across some philanthropists who liked me, and they wanted me to to do some things with them that had to do with people from different parts of the world coming together and see if they can live in peace. And these people became my friends, and they started encouraging me. When I said I lost my second semester school fees to scam, they gave me part of that money. In the case, they sent me 1,000 euros to pay for my fees when I returned to Cyprus. And I also worked at a time in Cyprus until I stumbled across how to make legitimate income online. And then I stopped working in 2015. And ever since then, even up till now, I have been working online full-time, actually. And this was what really kept me going. And this same thing was what I even taught to a lot of people in Cyprus before I left Cyprus. And so that was how I was able to cover the finances.
Football movement?
The football movement, it's continued to be a challenge, one, as a black player, two, not having an agent to speak for me, three, the clubs were not ready to watch you play. If an agent came with you and said this player is good at this and this, in fact a coach told me to my face and said, if only you came with an agent who now tells me your good sides, your quality, where you're good at, I would not try you. I would believe his word and keep you and use you as he has said. But I don't have time to just watch you. So there's nothing I can do.
So where did you go to?
I went to Turkey, Ankara Gençler League, with their second team. There I met a Nigerian player, Eyigo, Sunday Eyigo, who played for Nigeria when Samson Siasa was a coach. And he's even scored a goal, 1 or 3 goals for Nigeria. Then I left Ankara Gençler League for Austria, and I tried in about 3 clubs in Austria. But the same story was what I had all through. And just while I was doing these trials was when I developed a hip bone injury. And that was where the challenge started. The last trial I did, I could not even do the tactical trainings with them because my hip gets stuck in the process. And it was too expensive to treat myself in Austria, even though I had a travel insurance. Just for the doctor, you know, to check my leg, just to examine my leg, we had to pay 120 euros or so. And so I told my friends, please let me get back to Cyprus where I have insurance covering me, and let me go check myself. I got back to Cyprus, did MRI scan, and did x-rays and everything. They couldn't find the problem wrong with my hip bone. But my hip bone was still stuck. And so I felt I can't lose at both ends. Let me stop all these sport things for now and face the Masters, because I cannot lose at both ends. I must come out a success, at least with the Master's degree. And
so what happened?
The Master's degree in my first semester, like I told you earlier, it was woeful. B- all through. And you cannot graduate in the university with B- for your Master's. You must have A's. So I had 5 courses to go my second semester, and I had to drop the football, drop training and everything, and I faced the academics fully. And at the end, I came out with 4 A's, 1 B that semester, which gave me enough grade to be able to graduate for the Master's degree.
So I'll ask my own last question before I leave it open. So at the end of this thing, because you now later went to the US, yes. You actually went to the US and came back to Turkey, and then you now decided to come back home. At the end of all of this, when you look back at the 3 years you spent, what message would you give the son who is at home now listening to this conversation that we're having and thinking that they want to go and play professional football outside of Nigeria? Some don't want to go to school anymore. They could succeed, but the vast majority will not, you know, at least in that line. So what would you tell them from your own experiences?
Well, I'll tell them not to give up on their dreams, first of all. Anything is possible. I might have not achieved everything I wanted because I did not have every necessary information that I was supposed to have. So they need to have the right information first. It is not as rosy as it appears on TV. You will definitely face challenges, especially finance. And changing naira to dollar to euros can be very, very tough. Plus, you don't even have a qualification in the first place to say you would just get a very good job abroad and then you just go. I would advise that you also don't kill your dream. Don't leave it that way. Pursue the dream, but have academics by the side. Very important. I think that's one very important thing you should do. As you pursue your career, pursue academic career as well. When you man those two together, you definitely will succeed. You could end up succeeding in both, but you would never fail in both. And that's one very important thing I think they should know.
Well, if you are just joining us, once again, this is the Sports Parliament coming to you from our studios in Lagos and Abuja. And right there in Abuja is Yunus Tanko. I've been watching him there, almost stupefied. So, Tanko, the first shot should come from you. Either a comment, a question, or whatever.
I think we have a guest who, despite all his troubles, sounds so confident, and I'm quite impressed with the fact that he decided to follow his dreams, and in his own advice, he has advised other young guys coming up that follow your dreams. But I must say that one most important factor he has mentioned here is the fact that he went to Europe because he doesn't have the necessary support in terms of the agent, in terms of his color is also a factor. But I believe that one of the biggest factor is the fact that maybe he was not an excellent player, because despite the fact that Europeans look at you as a black player, I mean, we've had a lot of black players who have made it in Europe despite the challenges, but the takeaway for me is the fact that people will always immigrate to other places for different reasons, either for pleasure, either for job, either for comfort, and he has decided to follow his dream, and whatever happens, he's happy that at the end of the day, football did not work for him, but academics has worked for him. So I think it's a win-win for anyone who wants to go out. But the point is, make up your mind exactly what do you want. He's made up his mind. He wanted football. He didn't get football, but he's gotten something else. And I think we must have to also encourage any Nigerian player who wants to go out, or athlete, that yes, you can go out, but these are the challenges. In fact, it's much more difficult these days, because those days it was easy for him to have traveled, but today it will be much more difficult because you need a visa, you need, there are border patrols all over the places. Europeans don't want you to come into their countries because you have to pay taxes, and because there is no data of you coming into the country to work, it becomes so difficult to make plans with you. And that's why they are very strict, especially countries like the UK, the US. Some Eastern European countries are easier to access, but in most of the advanced European countries, it's quite difficult for you, to assess their country and assess their facilities. So I think we need to advise our young athletes, our young sportsmen who want to travel, to make sure they get the necessary support. Like he has said, get the necessary agent who will advise. Even though you are going to pay some money, but it pays you, but you have to also be careful, because there are so many guys camouflaging as agents, as people who will make things, like the speaker said earlier, make heaven on earth for you. It's not always going to be easy. So I think I'm quite impressed with the confidence Sheyi has shown, and he doesn't really look like someone who has had problem going abroad. So I think that is a big takeaway for me. That is a big takeaway.
By the way, Sheyi is a young man. He's still in his 20s. He just came back a couple of weeks ago. And when we are talking of his travels and travels, it is recent. It is not as if it happened in the past. He left only 3 years ago, and he's back now just a few weeks ago. So he can actually still play, but he has this hip injury. So, fellow parliamentarians, Doctor.
What I feel is this. Well, I support most of the views that Tanko expressed. But one thing I think that actually is going for him, because he said he has confidence, is the fact that he has a background in his academics. And that one is very, very crucial. And I think when we look at the issue of sport, I'm an advocate of education with sport. They must go together. Yes, your dream can be to play football, but have education. Because with education, you can go places. With education, you can rise up to situations and be able to surmount obstacles. And then, you're able to negotiate and discuss with people, because you have that confidence to even approach a club without anybody taking you there to say, I want to play football. Yes, there may be some few things lacking. Your inability to play for the under-17, probably if you play for under-17, an agent will have actually, seen you, mark you out, or some other people will have been interested in you and trying to see that, you make that football a career. But you have exposure now. which is one thing that actually is a plus for you. The color of the skin, like you said, as one of the obstacles or the constraints. Yes, everybody, whether you go into academics or anything, you have to understand this, that when you are there in Europe or anywhere, as a black man, if you are at par with the white, you don't have a chance. They told me this when I was doing my project: you must be on top before you can be actually, you know, taken to be can be recognized. So that is one of those things that probably if you knew this, you would have done a lot more. But then I'm sure that your dream has not actually, you know, died. You still have that dream, except for the injury that you have.
Which Dr. Amau can help you treat it?
Except for the injury that you have. But for the younger ones, or those ones listening to you, or the parents, I think it's a big lesson that, you know, we have to learn from Sheyi's experience. He went on his own. He had a lot of rough times, but he managed to get something out of it, which is the education. And with that, sky will be the limit.
Can I just
and I want to say that, you know, I congratulate you for even making sure that, you know, you, in the face of all odds.
I'd just like to look at it from a different angle. And Tanko made an allusion to it, and it's, we must ask ourselves that why do we have the young Shei's looking for ways to travel all the time? Is there any way we can stop that? Is there anything that we're doing wrong that all they think about is traveling out? Is the grass really greener on the other side? Sports is a way that any progressive government can use as a job alleviation project. You can empower, you can give jobs to thousands and thousands of people through sports. So is there anything that as a people, as a government, as individuals, we can do to either educate them or to help them so that they don't think that it's just by traveling? So probably we should try and stop that traveling out and see if we can find an industry or find a development here, even for them to achieve their dreams. Because a Nigerian should have a dream to achieve their dream at home. I identify with you very much.
But you studied abroad.
I actually studied abroad. No, the truth about it is that I studied abroad after my career. I won an Olympic gold medal from Nigeria, from studying in Nigeria while the whole team were abroad. So that's why I said I identify with you, and the problems we have as student athletes are very difficult in Nigeria because our curriculum and our government doesn't support that. So there should be a way that we must do, something we must do to stop the exodus or the movements of the emigration of our young talented ones outside of the country.
Well, I don't think we can stop it outrightly, because at every point in time you want to improve yourself, you want a better service, a better condition of exposure. What I think is for us to develop our sports, develop our football. Let's create enough enabling environment for our young boys to exhibit their talent. If Sheyi had gotten the opportunity to play in the junior national team under 17, maybe at that time he left, he wouldn't have. He would have gotten some more experience from the under 17. He would play for the under 20, from the under 20, and then he would play for a club side in Nigeria. He went for trials, about 4 clubs. They didn't give him the opportunity. So if those situations arise and he had the opportunity, going out wouldn't be the end thing for him like he did.
Yeah, going out was the next option after these clubs.
Exactly.
Because it was like frustration was going to set in.
If Stars or Sunshine Stars or Warri Wolves had signed him on, he would remain to play that season.
As you alluded to, probably he wasn't just good enough.
But see, and
that didn't have enough exposure locally. Even
locally you have the challenge.
But see, that's what I thought we can stop it.
And for you to play outside Nigeria, you must have some kind of skills.
I agree with that.
As a footballer, when I was playing, I went to Egypt, trial with Arab contractors. I went to Lebanon. I went to some countries. But I discovered that I needed something that they don't have. Other players came from other African countries. About 3 or 4 of us were in Arab contractors then. But they had some skills that I don't have. So I couldn't make the team. And I was good.
So can we talk about the issues of feeder teams and those kind of things?
Yes. We will do that in the next few minutes that we have left in this program. But we just go on our last break. We'll go on our last break and then we'll come back to start rounding up.
Issues in the sports sector remain one of the most debated among Nigerians due to the passion, followership, government involvement, impact on Nigeria's external image and our national life in the sports parliament. The NTA offers Nigerians deep views on issues with experts in the sports sector, offering in-depth analysis, hindsight, insight and foresight towards elevating Nigerian sports to the zenith on the floor of the sports parliament.
The benefits that accrued in school sports, it is the bedrock of any nation.
A few Nigerians wanted the status quo to continue. So I don't think we should put all Nigerians and say Nigerians don't follow the trend, because the smart ones we are following the trend.
The National Sports Lottery Fund, shrouded in secrecy.
The fact that the Super Eagles played an NTA, not only NTA, no Nigerian broadcaster, in fact, no broadcaster anywhere in the world from our records was able to bring that match. It's a matter of concern.
Issa Hayatu was president for 29 years. He lost the election in Addis, and that's it. He's gone.
Sports Parliament, a unique platform for sports discussions, showing live on the NTA, Thursdays at 11 p.m. Keep a date with the parliamentarians.
The eyes have it. Yes, welcome back. We go straight away to Tanku. You have 1 minute to tell us your final words on this program, the advice you have for young boys watching this show today. Tanku.
Yeah, I really want to follow the template laid by Sheyi. Government cannot legislate on who goes out or who goes in. It's like medical doctors, professionals, engineers. We have so many people going outside the country, for greener pastures. So you can't legislate on that. But what I would like to say here is, for you to go out, you must be an excellent professional in whatever you do. If you're a footballer, you must be damn good. You must be very good. If you're an engineer, the same thing. If you're an average player or an average athlete, then it's going to be very difficult for you to compete, because already there is a bias. I mean, we can't take that away. So for you to come in as a black man, you must be at the top of your game. So government cannot provide for everybody, and government cannot go to individual homes. I mean, how many players do we have at the national team, at the under-17? You can't have more than 25, and you have over 2 million young footballers who want to play for their country. So what do? They need to go somewhere else to see if they could make progress. So we will continue to encourage government to provide those enabling environment, the facilities for our young kids to exhibit their talent. But having said so, those who want to take a plunge, we will pray for them to be a success.
From Abuja, Shola.
Well, I'm so happy that Sheyi followed his passion, and while he was doing that, he didn't leave the education behind, and that is what gives him the opportunity to even come here tonight. The education that he took along when he was going. And I want to advise the young ones out there who are thinking of abandoning their education, they want to pursue a career, a footballing career, that the two should work hand in hand. You can't drop one for one, because football is ephemeral. Is that you have a short time to play. So if you stop playing football, what will you be doing? When your strength goes, it's your brain that will carry you along. Somebody like me, if I didn't go to school, I wouldn't be here. I played football to the highest level, but without my education, I can't be here tonight talking. So it's always better
Well, the message is clear.
Well, the message is actually clear, and I agree with Tanko, I agree with Shola, but I just want to clarify in terms of my previous statement, when I say we should try to stop them from going out, it's not by legislation or by force. It's by providing things back home, not just even by government, but even clubs, like we spoke of a club having a feeder team. I don't think he would have been in a hurry. He wanted to play football. Yeah. His dream was not initially, let me go to Europe. He was passionate to even look for the academy. He wanted to play, but they didn't give him a chance. So he felt he'll get a chance outside. So I must commend you for at least knowing when to switch roads, knowing when to say, look, listen, my education comes first. And that's what we want young ones outside to realize, that education, education, education. And then sometimes you're still old, you're still young enough to play. You can still play, it's still an opportunity. Legislating for you now in case that's a job. So you don't give it up. The education will be there and will always be there no matter how old you are.
Thank you. Before we go to Doctor, last words from you on your experiences, your advice, whatever you want to say. But let me tell Nigerians that this guy is now undergoing his PhD program, a PhD program. And what he does now, he fends for himself from his room and is earning a fantastic salary on the internet. So this guy is a genius. Anyway, last words from you.
Well, I would say do not give up on your dreams, because as I'm sitting here, if I have an open check now to still play the football, I will still play it. I would look for everything that would make the injury go, and I will still play it, because I think I can still play it. But anything you're trying to pursue in life, don't leave the education out of it. It shouldn't just be a career. Always go with the education, and anyone that works out at the end works out fine. But of course, you also need God. I think you need God also.
Doctor, you are running up today's show for us.
Yeah, I think...
I'm moving the motions.
Okay then. I think we've had a very beautiful story, and this brings me back to the objective of the Sports Parliament. And I think is to draw attention to some of these salient issues, which definitely has pushed our sport a little bit backward. Because in the days when the speaker was playing football, education was part of what he had to do. And that is what is pushing him on. And quite a lot of people like that, we have them. He's sitting down there, he's there. So many people like that. And also, one of the issues that we talk about on the federations too, that's why we feel that people who have passion for the sport the federation should be found there, so that it can think out of the box and be able to galvanize, human and material resources to improve this sport, so that the young ones do not necessarily have to go outside of Nigeria. They can do everything here, and people will see them from abroad and bring them in. And I think that is the way it should go. In terms of remuneration, the same thing. Athletes are poorly paid. That explains why they want to rush out, thinking that, it's all that easy.
You have to move your motions now.
On that note, I want to move a motion that education should be a priority for any young one who wants to play sport. Education and sport should go together. Most countries have succeeded in this, and Nigeria can also succeed in this, because the more educated you are, the better you are able to even apply yourself, your talent and everything to that sport. And I beg to move the motion for adjournment till next week.
Well, all parliamentarians, those in favor of that motion, that sports and education should go together hand in hand in Nigeria, and that we should move for adjournment, say aye. Aye. Those against say nay. Well, the ayes have it. And on that note, we say congratulations to our big director on this show, Henry Ophium. It was your birthday yesterday, and we are still going to drink or watch that your birthday tonight. You can't escape it. See you next week. Bye-bye.